Okay, I'm going to get started with
You better
that.
get you better get control of this group.
That's right. That's right. Well, welcome to Unfinished Friday. Small group today, but small but mighty. That's good. Today we were going to have Erin Kesters on today, but COVID has kind of gone through her family a little bit, and she's got kind of if you know her, she's got a child that has some very rare, special health needs. So they're dealing with that, and as far as I know, everyone's okay. It's just trying to stay healthy, and so I told her she needed to just take care of her family this week, and hopefully she'll be able to join us in 2 weeks. But today, so that kind of left me with, what would we talk about today? And John Radway and we meet just about once a day during the week, and this started, gosh, what, I don't know, about 8 years ago, maybe not, maybe something like that. Um, and I was going through I was starting to kind of look at a transition in career, and so I was kind of asking around to see who might be someone who could help me with making some decisions and that and I knew John through networking, and I was kind of pointed in his direction. But the story that I always tell about when it comes to like intergenerational mentoring, um, I was involved in my men's group at my church. We're probably going back maybe 8 to 10 years ago, and every late summer, early fall, if you're in a church, you know that that's kind of the time that all the ministries are ramping up. You've got the men's ministry, women's ministry, children's, young adults, singles, you name it, and they're all trying to get those folks involved. And so our church would set up in our entryway with booths of all these different ministries. And so I was standing at the men's ministry booth, and we were going through men's fraternity. It was a 3-year program, and it just dealt with men's issues and helping men become all that God had created them to be. And so our goal was to invite others to join us, for other men to join us. So I remember standing there, and there was a gentleman walking. I saw him a little ways off. He was probably in the maybe late 60s ish age range. At the time, I would have been mid 30s, and so he starts getting closer, and he walks by, and I said, "Hey, would you like to join us for men's fraternity this year?" And he didn't even break stride as he walked past me, and he said, "Oh, I've done all those things. I've seen all that stuff." I mean, he didn't even break stride, just kept going. He wasn't mean about it. He wasn't insensitive about it. But to me, he just didn't get it. And I sat there as a mid 30 something year old, thinking, man, this guy probably has a lot of things he's been through that he could probably teach me on how to avoid some of those things, or go towards a different direction. And so that always stuck with me. I will never forget that. And I kind of, I guess, vowed it to myself at that point that I would not be that person that would just walk by, because he didn't get it. He thought that men's fraternity, this whole ministry thing, was for him to get something out of it. He didn't see the value he had to someone like me that he could teach. And so that was partly my reaching out to John. And John has been such a huge resource, an inspiration. I mean, you name it. John has helped me through a lot of things, and a lot of it is uh, he's really good at asking really good questions, but he also has a ton of insight that he can share with me. You know, he's owned businesses. He's gone through medical issues. I mean, it, he's been through it, been there, done that, and so I just, to me, it's a there's a two-way street there. As a young person, or a younger person, I should say, you need to reach out to people that are older than you. There's so much there, and for us as older people, reaching out to younger people. There's a kid that I spend time with, and he's a junior in high school now. His back when I first kind of got met him, I worked with his mom, and she was a single mom at that time. Her son and then her daughter, actually her daughter has Down syndrome. And so I asked her one day, I said, does Tristan have any male role models in his life at all? And she said no. And so after thought and prayer, because I didn't want to go into it um, uh, without committing to it first. And so I did just decided to, spend some time with him. And we've been now together. Gosh, it's been probably, I don't know, it's probably been 6-7 years now. And we just enjoy to be together. So I'm gonna turn it over to John, and John's gonna share a little bit from his perspective on intergenerational mentoring.
Well, thank you, Aaron. Your words were too kind. But the other piece of that is, in fact, I just finished reading a book. A year ago, last August, we had uh, a speaker at our men's steak fry, by a guy by the name of Chuck Stecker. And he has put a book out of which he was the general. It's called If You Take the Baton, or If You Pass the Baton, Take It Back. In other words, you've all run a relay, or you've seen people run relays. You do a segment, you run your segment, you pass the baton, and you're done. Well, because of some of the health issues and life experience, good, bad, and ugly, that I've had, I've been led, and I spent 9 years with Leadership Resources and doing mentoring and coaching there, which was in that case paid positions. I kept having people saying, "Could we have a cup of coffee?" First of all, let me qualify. Aaron is 40-ish, but I've got guys 20-ish that reach out to me and say, "Can we have a cup of coffee?" And I don't, well, first of all, for those of you that are faith-based, I believe every appointment, whether it's business or otherwise, is a divine appointment. I don't think they just are happenstance. I think they happen on purpose. Well, Aaron and I had a mutual friend. His name was Clinton Lavity. At first, I thought that's what you were going to say. Well, you could see him coming down the hall because he's 6'7" or something like that, and he was part of your men's fraternity. But the bottom line is, I heard a guy named Tim Elmore speak at a Christian Businessmen's Conference in Phoenix about 4 or 5 years ago. And he does a lot of writing for teachers and educators. And he talked about, at that time, the Y, now the Z generations, and how hungry they are for mentorship. And in fact, I have his book right here. It's called Life-Giving Mentors by Tim Elmore. He also has a daily message he puts out. A lot of it's around education, but the biggest thing is most of them, the X, Ys, and Zs, have been driven by this and the laptop we're on. and they have not had that human interaction as much as they've got head knowledge. But when it comes to life experience, I've got a young man who is 25. He's a financial advisor. I know his father-in-law very well. And he reached out to me. He said, could we start, well, he wanted to also start building a relationship for his financial side of his business. But it's turned more into just a one-on-one mentorship. So my point is, people are hungry for that, whether you're a guy or a gal. For you ladies on board today, I hope some of you are reaching out to some of the younger women in your life too, because they're as hungry for that mentorship as the younger guys are. So I don't mean to make it all about males, but that's been my experience. Well, in fact, for over a year, there's a gal in the community who is a coach herself that reached out to me and said, hey, Radway, I need your time for once a month to we all need accountability. When I was at Leadership Resources, in 2 cases, I had the opportunity to mentor heads of firms. And one of them said to me, and they call me Radway, why do I pay you X dollars a month to sit down with me? And I said, because you need somebody to kick your butt. and he says, yeah, you're right. And my point in that is we all need accountability. And even now, it's been more so, I believe, with what's going on, whether it's once a month, and Aaron and I know another mutual friend that for the last 3 years, he's been successful in his business. His wife just retired from her position. And our 3 years has been spent about how does he manage and grow his business and start looking at what it could succession and look like, number one. Number two, maintaining balanced lifestyle. Number three, reintroducing himself to his wife who's home more now and spending time with them and how do they balance life. And number four, their business. And what is it going to look like now and going forward? Because the particular model he had due to COVID has changed. And that's what I'll say about that. So I will say this too. A mentoring relationship is a two-way street. Aaron touched on that. I can honestly say that I gain as much from Aaron as I hopefully give, because he has great insights. And so it may start out with a mentee reaching out to you and saying, hey, can we have a cup of coffee? But as this relationship goes forward, there's another good book, and some of you have probably read it. It's called The Speed of Trust. And I would suggest you get that or look at it. And I got it when I was at Leadership Resources. I got after 7 years there, I got a 1 month sabbatical. I think they were just being nice to me to get me out of the office for a month. But I did a paper on successioning of a business and what does that look like. And then we entrepreneurs, we create and build a business, and that's our baby. And we don't like to let go of our baby. We want to hold that baby even when we're grandparents in the business, we want to hold that baby. And it's hard to give that business up. And I've been permission to say this. I had the opportunity to work with Aaron Root, yes, and with that's the only part about being a dyslexic 18-year-old. Our sprinkler guy, Aaron.
What's that?
The sprinkler man. The guy that has the big sprinkler.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, and I'll come back to that, but I hate that.
Well, we're about time here.
But anyway, people are hungry for sharing knowledge. Our society as a whole does not do a good job of honoring, and I'm not saying that because I am old, but honoring the wisdom of our mature people. You go to Asia, you go to India, you go to Africa, people are honored. And I encourage people to reach out and not just sit in a coffee shop, reach out to another young person, not have the guy like Aaron experience walk by and said, oh, I know all that and I've heard all that. So anyway, it's been a blessing, and we're actually going through a men's ministry change at our church, and I'm hoping to bring that whole intergenerational ministry and mentoring into that.
Well, I think the bottom line is that you're probably not going to be asked to be a mentor. I mean, that may happen, but reach out and make it known that you would be willing to do that, or reach out to someone younger, reach out to someone older,
Yeah.
and whether it's an ongoing thing or not, there's a lot to be gained there. So,
Well, it has to be a fit. You know, you might have a cup of coffee with somebody and you're not comfortable or they're not comfortable. Thanks for the coffee. If I can ever be available to you, let me know.
Yeah. No, it's been great though. So I do encourage it. We're probably preaching to the choir here, but people that will listen later, I do encourage you, reach out to someone that you've wanted to learn from. All it takes is an ask. So thanks for joining us, John. Thanks for helping me out.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for what I've gained from you too. That's why I come to these. That's a great opportunity to interact and to gain wisdom and insight.
All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Finish strong, and have a great weekend.
All right.
Thanks, guys.